Hi guys. So I've been away for a while, but I've been busy. I've been playing inside of Sketchbook. So if you're interested, just to cut to the point of the video, if you're interested in watching me try to figure out who I'm going to be when I grow up as an artist, in this sketchbook and this new giant thing that I bought at the thrift store, then that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not sure that I come to any particular conclusions by the end of it, other than I'm in over my head on this new quest. So if you'd like to watch me do all that stuff, that's how I've spent many days on this recording. I'll see you back at this. I'll see you over here. Bye. Hello everyone. Good Saturday afternoon from my studio. I did not know that I was going to turn on my camera because I've been trying to avoid it, but I want to show you something that I'm working on that I'm kind of excited about. I get excited about everything. If you haven't been around my videos, I get excited about all kinds of stuff. I went to Goodwill yesterday, and for 92 cents, I bought this book, Reader's Digest, These United States. It was published in 1968. And I specifically picked it out, two things, because of its size, but because of the thickness of its pages. I don't know how to measure the thickness, but look what I have done. I've collaged and pen worked, and I'm not really playing around with composition. I'm sort of just more trying to make a record of different shapes that I can play with, because it's hard to remember when you're designing. It's hard to remember what kind of details you can use. I made this yesterday, which I think is adorable. I like my stamped Halloween potion things from much earlier. I like a whole lot. I love the hand stamping mixed in with this. But what particularly has my attention right now is this, which I was watching a channel the other day. I'll put the header up. Her name was Martha, and her channel was I Love to Paint. And she was doing something called Neurographic. She called it Neurographic. And I've seen that in my feed before, but I guess it just didn't catch my eye. But it caught my eye watching her draw this pattern and paint inside of it. So this is not the first Neurographic drawing I have done since watching her. This is actually the fourth. So let me show you. This is the sketchbook that I've been working in pretty diligently. Since I did my sketchbook tour, I want to show you. This is all new. All of this stuff is all new. But this is the first Neurographic piece that I made. And try to make it sort of lay a little bit flat. Let me tell you what I like about this thing, because I like a lot about it. What I understood, the rules, and I don't know that there are rules, but just the guidance is that when you're doing Neurographic, this is my interpretation, I could have it wrong, you're drawing top to bottom lines in any way you want, and left to right lines in any way you want. So I did that. And because I'd never done it before, I did not have preconceived ideas about it, which I'll show you in some subsequent attempts. Had a lot of preconceived ideas, but I think this is actually lovely. And what appeals to me about this is I used regular brush pens. They're like little felt tip pens to paint these in. I'll dig them out in just a second. The background was fairly one color. And then at the last minute, a couple of days ago, I had this extra blue paint, and I just put it on here. So let me make a point. Okay, so this is the one that I think is very successful. Let me show you the next one I did, which is here. And the background on this was very busy, had been painted over and collaged over, and it wasn't salvageable, so I thought I would do this. But I'm coming to recognize that unless I'm going to paint everything out, The background does make a difference in terms of its continuity. But I also had preconceived ideas about this, and I tried to be aware of the shapes that I was making. Then I did this, which was even less successful because now I'm really trying hard. So let me just show you something, because I'm gonna be playing with this for a while. If you look at the lines, look at the thickness of the black on this compared to this. This, when a line would intersect another line, I would just curve off each corner and color that in, you know, and not substantially increase the thickness of the drawn line. Here I did not do that. Here the idea I had in my mind was making cells, and so I was creating these round shapes. I don't think that that's as successful as the less practiced shape of this. So what I want to do with you guys is I want to open my new favorite sketchbook up to a spread, and I want to record myself drawing in these lines. I've set up a new camera that might make it possible for me to do detail work without my head getting in, so I can do it on camera. I really would like to, because I enjoy watching it, and I think you guys do too, watching me do the pen work and stuff like that. So, all right, enough. I'm sorry, I'm talking so much, but that's the plan. So, this is going to be my spread. This is a big book, so let me prop it up. Clamp it. That's fluffy. That's better. Okay, what I'm going to use is this stuff that I have been playing with. All of the stuff that I just showed you, I have been sitting in my chair, my favorite chair, and I have been drawing. So I'm using what I've used in the past, so two different Staedtler brush. It's got a pointy on one side and a brush on the other side, and similar brush marker, Master's Touch. I think I got this in Hobby Lobby. I don't like those as well. I like the Staedtlers better. Big Sharpies, small Sharpies. This is what I've been enjoying doing this with. So what I'd like to try with you guys is, rather than painting this background out, because it's got such an interesting background built into it, and it's all going to show through, I'm going to leave it alone, and I'm going to draw some, I'm going to neurograph this. I'm going to neurograph it. So here we go. Okay, those are my up and downs. And these I know I can repair everything when I'm doing it. Okay, now I'm going to do my sideways. And I'm actually trying really hard not to think about this, although I'm watching myself right now. That was obviously very practiced. It would just be nice to have it be fairly organic, but there are some really large shapes here. See how big some of these shapes are? And I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy them, so I just have to decide if I'm going to break them up. These I'm going to break up that way. I'll tell you, one of the things that I watched Amanda Close, she did a walking tour of some galleries in Chelsea, and she showed a guy's work. I want to say Jeff Koons. She said he's the guy who does the balloon animals. I didn't know what that was, but then I saw. Everything that he did was similar, not everything. He had a very similar theme of something like this, but far less organic, where it looked like windows, like a grid pattern, like my whole history of grid pattern. So I found that really interesting. So I wish I had done that, but I haven't. So I'm just going to keep going. and break up some of these spaces. This is giant. I think this is probably enough. These are really big spaces though. Am I going to paint this in with a paintbrush or magic marker? I'll tell you what I like about magic marker is how it shows through. And this was just an introductory page, so it had almost no text on it. But this has got a bunch of text on it. So I'm going to throw just a couple more, break up some big space. Okay. So the next thing I think I'm going to do is, this requires close-up work. So this is going to be my first time trying this camera angle, and I hope it works okay. This is a much bigger book than the camera angle was decided on. But the next thing that I'm going to do is finish the corners of this. You'll see it. I'll show you. Okay. Bye. Okay, I'm getting ready to try something in my big sketchbook, which is a spread using, this kept me awake last night until 2 o'clock in the morning, using my own artwork as collage material. These are all digital abstract designs that I've done, and my printer is putting out some rather wimpy color, but whatever. What I want to do is I want to collage areas of this. I want to paint in some other, here, how about if I just do it and stop telling you what I want to do and just do it. This thing that I've been talking about in my earlier clips of this neurographic thing, it's not the neurographic that I'm interested in. It's the little shapes. It's the little tiny shapes that result from doing the neurographic. This and this. So this is Princeton Catalyst Wedge. I always want to tell people about it because it's my favorite tool. This is what you don't do with it. You don't use a knife to clean the paint off, okay? Because then you put a big gouge in it and it never works properly again. But it does do this job, okay? So I don't know. This is going to be the first time I've actually glued very much onto this paper, which is I don't know how it's gonna hold up, but we'll find out. I'm gonna try to get something similar in color and in the background. I've got a picture in my mind, and we'll see. Okay, so I got ahead of myself and did not include you in the process of doing this page. So, well, you know, it's pretty obvious what you do is every time the pieces intersect, you sort of ease off, round off the four corners. And because I have a couple of sets of magic markers, which are these magic markers, which I've shown you before, and sit right next to my favorite chair, it is a great deal of fun for me to color these things in. And I've done a little bit of, there's some areas on this map of Alabama, that Pensacola, Florida is on this map, and some words that, you know, are meaningful to me. This one says Spain, my brother's name Russell, you know, things like that. So I've colored this in, and the next thing that I'd like to do is paint on this, but I want to back up because I don't remember if I even showed you this, but I've gone hog wild with this concept, and it's starting to evolve. So this was all colored in with these magic markers, and I have started filling it in with acrylic paint. A couple things that I like. I like the see-throughness of this versus the solidness of this, and I think the only way I know how to get that might be with watercolor, but I don't know how watercolor will behave in here. Do I have more? Hold on a second. No. Okay, so I did that. Just a quick, I did this the other day as well. This is the next thing that I want to work on camera. This is the same papers as this and the same color background done in this art book and all colored in with these magic markers. I like it better this way. This has a sort of stylized house and tree feeling to it. So I can almost see this, I don't know, this very stylized village or something like that. This appeals to me. I have a big problem with contrast, as you can see, and because I'm working with a really limited palette of colors and they don't have a lot of contrast, they're almost the same color over and over again. So I'm talking a lot, I'm really sorry, but this is what I want to do with this. And I don't know if I can paint this with you guys sitting here. And so I've got this, can you even see that? I've got this set up at a height where I should be able to record myself painting. So we'll see. I'm going to use a Sharpie. These I'm actually finding I like the Sharpie. I like the Sharpie fine point really well to draw with, even though it goes through the paper, but it does not like acrylic. But this is what I'm going to start with, and I'm going to keep my lines fairly light because I don't know what I'm going to want to do with this. I'm looking at the size of these shapes. I can paint right over them. This is much darker than I wanted it to be, but I knew if I did this with the charcoal pencil that I think it's supposed to be done with, it won't work. Okay, I need to break that space up. Where will I bring it? This is the part I'm not quite sure how to do. I might have to do this without you guys. I don't know how to do this part. Okay, I'm trying a different camera angle. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Hold on. This is actually Hack Job, my 1-year anniversary, and I'm not using a microphone, and I'm using, yeah, anyways. I've got tea. I've got phthalo, cadmium, fluorescent magenta. I feel like it might be this. Okay, I'm kind of scared. This is just a sketchbook and I'm acting all precious about it. So I'm just going to put some paint down here. Okay, so I don't even know where to start, so I'll just start. I'm going to start right here and really, really hope that I can keep my head out of the, this brush is way too soft. Give me, oh, that's better. Hope my head doesn't show. Because I really do need, my brother actually gave me, I have to tell you guys, my freaking brother gave me a magnifying glass for Christmas, which was supposed to be an old people joke gift. But it was the best gift because when I can't see something, like some of my books, I've got a couple of art books that they're trying to be so artsy that they put in a light gray font and then they make the font small. Look at what I have. I can paint through it. Can you see it? Actually, it's a little hard to see with paint. I'm going to keep choosing places. Why is this so scary? Oh my God. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Look at how I'm acting like a big baby here. This is a sketchbook. I think it's because I have, in a kind of a way, I've married myself to the idea that this might be my new direction because it is gel printing. It uses my original digital art, which took a pound of flesh out of me to learn. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to paint. I'm just going to let you guys watch me paint, and like you can see that. You can see, can't see the bottom of this. So the very bottom will have to move up. But I'm just going to paint. I just realized that some of you are used to watching me gel print, so you probably haven't ever seen me paint. I just want to show you what I have set up on the side here for my paint palette so that you know what I'm doing off camera, because I've always been very curious about that kind of stuff. So what I have on the side is this inexpensive palette that I bought at the dollar store, which is just folds in half and closes. And I've got wet paper towel inside of it. And then I've got some sheets of deli paper on top of it. And I'm just mixing my paint right now. I'm just working with blues and greens. So I'm not doing anything fancy here because I'm not a real life painter. I'm learning how to be one. So that's basically what I'm doing there. So I'm just going to keep on painting, and I'll be in touch. Okay guys, it's several days later, and as you can tell by looking at what's in front of me, I have been painting. Oh, and I don't know where this is going. I had this idea that I was going to paint around shapes, and then I would forget that I was painting around shapes, and then I just kept on trying to distribute colors. I have painted over certain blocks, many, like I can't even tell you, there's probably 10 different colors that have been on some of these blocks. You know, I don't know what's happening here. I don't know where this is going. So I'm ready to end this video, and I guess what I want to do is end it by telling you a little bit about what I'm thinking in terms of where this might lead. I've done a lot of stuff in this sketchbook. I've even shown you some of this, you know, just drawing, lettering. This, I don't even know if I've shown it because I've been recording this over so many days, but this particular one is what inspired me to work on this. It's done with the same papers in the background and everything, and I like this because the paints are see-through. You can see where they're not, but these are just water-based markers, brush pens. And I like what's happening here. Actually, I like it better like this. The shape appeals to me better. I like what's happening here, but I did not get that with this thing. So let me show you. I've just been dubbing around. So this is another page. I'm really interested in collage background, drawn shapes over it, doing some collage stuff. But I'll tell you, this is way too close of an interpretation of the point I'm trying to make is that this is too close of an interpretation of Charlotte Wensley's work, and it doesn't feel original to me. However, all right, there's more of this happening here. I'm getting closer to something that feels like an original interpretation of backgrounds with painted shapes on top of it. This I actually really enjoyed making. Now I'm at the end of the book. So the point that I'm trying to make right now is that this works for me. It's see-through. I think it's all one contrast. I don't have any way of dealing with contrast. This is a direction I like. I am a lost girl here. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. So I'm going to close out this video by saying, for now, because I have been for weeks doing nothing but playing these sketchbooks, and I've got pages and pages of stuff that I've played around with. I think I might be to the end finally. Pages and pages of stuff that I've played around with. It's been, really fun. I'm really enjoying myself. But you know what? I want to make a piece of art. I want to make something that I want to make a finished piece of art. I do hear the comments from everybody about what's the point of sketchbooks. Listen, I hear you. You're preaching to the choir. I understand that sketchbooks can be confusing, particularly if you're doing something finished. But when you're working on trying to figure out a new direction, I don't want to do that on a canvas. I want to do that in something that feels a little low barrier for entry. So I'm going to close this up. This is where I'm going next. Oh, what a disorganized. Yeah, happy New Year. Happy 1 year of being on YouTube. I am going to do something reminiscent of my olden days. I am going to work with neutral colors, because I'll tell you what is screwing me up in that big book is I don't know how to work with color. I can work on on composition or color, but I don't know how to do both at the same time. So I've pulled out a bunch of papers that are very neutral and fit my, well, not all of them, but fit my aesthetic of neutrality. I've got a 16 by 20 canvas. I've got some papers. This is what I'm going to do next. I'm going to work on a collage. So thank you guys for hanging out with me while I try to figure out how to go forward and reinvent myself, and I'm not even sure if that's realistic. So I'm going to say goodbye. My name is Cherie Burlington. I'm an artist, an errant, an angel mom, and I'm trying to figure out a direction that I can develop. But in the meantime, I need a break. So Happy New Year, happy 2026. I hope you have big plans. I don't. I'm kind of in a funk lately, and looking for the meaning of life all over again. Thank you guys. See you later. Bye.